is frustrating about this work is that there are economic forces that are constantly acting against these families. And, there needs to be a safety net for them because there are children involved. And, they're not going to be able to thrive in the next generation if we do not support where they are at right now.
Welcome to Journey to Impact podcast, where we talk to entrepreneurs and organizations that are making a difference in the world today. And hopefully we can inspire you to do the same. I'm very excited about today's guest. I am talking with Katie Hurn, and you might notice the same last name as me, Janet Hurn, because she is my sister-in-law, and I'm very excited to talk to her. Hi, Katie. Welcome.
Hi, Janet. How are you?
I'm very excited to talk to Katie today about Cobb Moms helping Cobb County, Georgia. So she has a nonprofit organization, and we're going to hear all about the organization and her involvement in it. So Katie, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here.
Well, thank you for agreeing to do it. I am very excited to tell the story of Cobb Moms helping Cobb. When you first told me about it, I've been very excited about the work you've done with them. So why don't you just give us a kind of an overview of Cobb Moms helping Cobb?
Okay. Cobb Moms Helping Cobb started about 10 years ago as a Facebook group by a wonderful woman who noticed that there were single parents who needed financial assistance, and she saw the ability to help those families by crowdfunding resources for them. And so the way it has worked for 10 years is that a family will approach the group with a need, and we will crowdfund resources in $5 to $10 to $20 increments. People will help donate to specific needs. For example, someone may have had a medical emergency and they are not able to make rent that month. And so we will put a post in our Facebook group, and people can donate to that particular need and help someone pay rent so that they don't then go into an eviction because of a medical emergency.
So these aren't like major big expenses, but these are everyday expenses that people aren't able to do and can really send them on a journey to disaster, right?
Correct. It can be a vicious cycle when you are not financially secure, and any small setback can really lead you into a path of homelessness, really. Yeah.
Well, that's amazing that your organization recognized that need. And I love that you're telling us that it started in a Facebook group. So it's not that you have to set up some big elaborate organization to get started helping people in your community. It could just be a small grassroots effort, right?
Absolutely. And our Facebook group grew from what it was 10 years ago to now there are 5,000 people in our group.
That's
Yeah.
amazing. That's amazing. Well, tell us a little bit about you. Introduce yourself and how did you come to do this work, and how are you inspired kind of to do this kind of work?
Well, I grew up in a single parent family, and I know growing up in that family, you face a lot of problems, and you find yourself constantly in a position of trying to solve those problems, and it can be exhausting. Luckily, my mom kept us going, and I was able to go to college, and I became an engineer and used those problem-solving skills to solve real-world technical problems. But I wanted to give back to my community. So I began volunteering for various nonprofits. my neighborhood's HOA, my school's PTA. And then I was approached by Jody Vane, who wanted me to become an admin for Cobb Moms Helping Cobb, which I was a member of, and I was a donor. And I jumped at the chance because it was a way to help these families that were just like the one I grew up in.
That's amazing. And I love how you were inspired kind of by your journey and you want to put solutions in place for people that might be in similar situation as you growing up.
Right.
Can you give us an example, a story or two? Obviously, no, not identifying any particular individual, but kind of explain to the listeners what are some of these problems that you all solve and how can that really make a big impact?
Well, one of the things that I am passionate about is, especially in Cobb County, Georgia, we don't have a very robust public transportation system. And so having one's own transportation, a car, can be vital to providing for your family. And an example is we had a parent who came outside one day and she had a flat tire and could not get to work. She had planned out her funding for rent and for utilities and for food. She did not have the funding to get the tire fixed. So she approached us for help with that. In the meantime, before we could assist with that, her apartment complex towed her car. And so now, not only did she not have a way to work, but she had the additional fees, the impound fees. And so we were able to assist her with the impound fees, with the flat tire, get her back to work, and she's doing well today. So those are the sorts of problems that we can assist with. You know, a lot of times, though, families will pay for the flat tire themselves and pay for the medical bills themselves and, you know, find themselves at the end of the month short on rent or not having enough for groceries. And so, you know, most of the time, those are the sorts of problems that we help with.
That's a really great story. And, you know, I get aggravated when I have car problems, but they don't put me over the edge of not meeting my budget for the month. And so I think sometimes we don't think about how something small like that could really impact a family. Did she have
Absolutely.
kids too and things like that?
Absolutely. One of the
Yeah.
requirements is our group is that you have children under the age of 18 in your care.
I see. I see. So you're really, really focused on families.
Right.
Wow, that's a great story. Can you share some overall impact you've had in the last 10 years? Do you know, I mean, you don't have to give super specific, but is there like how many families have you helped generally? What's the kind of impact you've had on Cobb County?
We didn't in the beginning. It was a very informal group. We didn't do a lot of the things that are necessary to track that sort of information. In the last year, we have become a 501c3 nonprofit. So
Nice.
we're very proud of that. And because of that, we have really ramped up our accounting and our metrics. And in 2023, we were able to help 35 families with groceries,
Nice.
48 families with housing,
Wow.
and 28 families with utilities. And as I mentioned, the list goes on. We've helped with childcare, we've helped with clothing for employment, we've helped with car repairs, and really anything that is getting in the way of a family being stable in their situation. In 2024, we're really excited because we've already It's only been 2 months into the year, and we've already helped 20 families with various needs.
Wow. Well, my math put you over 100 for last year, so that's pretty
Yes.
significant. 100 families impacted, over 100 families impacted by Cobb Moms helping Cobb County. That's fantastic, and that's started with a small group and has grown. And I hope people listening realize that you don't have to have all the things in place or have all the people in place. You can just take that first step, right?
Right.
Wow, that's amazing. So, what were some of the things along this path to get to your nonprofit status? That can you give any hints for people or things to watch out for, challenges along the way?
Mm-hmm. Us three admins at Cobb Moms Helping Cobb we're very meticulous, and we really like to understand what we're doing. And so we put a lot of effort in the 501c3 process into understanding exactly what the steps were and understanding exactly how we needed to dot the I's and cross the T's to make sure we did things appropriately. Probably the best advice I can give is, even if you have help, make sure you understand how your help is answering the questions, or understand where your help is registering you. You have to register at the state, you have to register on the federal level, we have to register in our particular county as well. And we made sure we understood exactly what we were signing up for and exactly how to answer these questions appropriately.
That's great advice. It's a bit of a process, but it's not impossible.
Right. Oh yeah, we ended up doing it ourselves. We had considered getting help, and then we thought, let's just see how far we can get. And we cranked our way through each to do on our list, and we used a lot of Googling, and we had a lot of people in our group who were resources to us, who could answer any questions that we had. But yeah, it was definitely, and for those who know the nonprofit world, there's an easy form you can do, and there's a long form you can do. And we did the long form.
Ooh,
And so, yes, we worked very hard on that.
what's the difference? Is there benefits to the long form versus the short form? How does that work?
There is a maximum amount that you can raise each year with the short form. And the questions, I didn't take too long of a look because we knew we were going to be over that amount. We just had historical data as far as how much money we were raising. So we didn't look at the easy form too much, but it's a lot less extensive.
Can you start there? If a group's just getting started, could they start with that short form, and then as they kind of grow, could they then file the longer form?
I believe so. And if you are able to start with the easy form, that would definitely be where you want to start. Much easier.
Sounds like it.
And try it yourself. See, just, look at the questions. You don't have to submit anything until you're 100% sure. But just look through all these forms and see what you can do on your own.
Okay, that's great advice. How do you let people know that you're available for help? Like, how do you get the word out?
People tend to find us. We have worked with a lot of hotels in the area. We have worked with a lot of apartment complexes in the area. We hand out a lot of business cards. We work with the school system extensively. And so the school social workers know that we're there, and we are in their toolbox when they have a family who is struggling. They know that we are an organization that they can come to for various needs in the county.
That's excellent. That makes sense to be in the schools. And I'm sure that they find great relief in having a resource to be able to give to people.
They know all the resources. We are so in awe of social workers in general, but particularly school social workers. They are tireless. They are so creative, and they put so much heart into what they do for students to make sure that they are able to stay in school and that they are thriving at home. It is amazing.
That's great. That's really good to hear. What is your kind of mechanism for giving assistance? Do you hand out cash, checks? How does it work?
No, we will pay directly for anything. So if someone needs a week at a hotel, we go to the hotel ourselves, and one of the three of us who are admins of the group will go to the hotel and pay directly. If someone needs rent, we work with the landlord and pay them directly. We will order groceries and deliver them if necessary. Sometimes, Walmart and Kroger will do, pickup orders. And so we will do that sort of thing. But we do not disperse cash directly to any of our clients.
That makes sense. So you're impacting the direct need that they said they had so that you can take care of that need.
Absolutely.
Can people return to you for more assistance if they need to, or is it a one-time kind of thing?
We try as best as we can to help families who are stable and are having a minor setback. And so, but we understand that when you are living at the poverty line, you can have multiple setbacks. And so typically we will help about once a year. And, we have made exceptions in the past, but our rule of thumb is it needs to have been a year since we've assisted.
Okay. All right. How do you see the future of your organization, and how are you creating sustainability within the organization?
We are very lucky. We have had some amazing donors. We had one donor who paid for the costs of us setting up our 501c3. We needed an accountant, we needed insurance, we had all these filing fees. And so we had a donor do that. Wonderful woman. We had another donor who has given us enough money for our admin expenses for 3 years.
Wow.
Yes. And another wonderful woman. She's very supportive of us. So we are very lucky in that all we have are program expenses. And so when we raise money in our Facebook group, our donors can be assured that 100% of their money is going towards whatever the need is that we have posted in our Facebook group.
Because those donors covered those other expenses.
Right.
Wow.
Right. Yeah.
That's amazing. So even if people are not in a position to start a group like you all have, they can find local groups, or even if they want to support your group, they can donate and still be really impactful.
Absolutely. And I think sometimes people feel like a $10 donation, a $20 donation is not impactful. But when you add all that up, you're making a huge difference for a family who may be facing eviction without that $10 or $20. So we're really proud of how we raise our funds. I myself am the treasurer of the organization, and every 2 weeks or month or so, I record all of our transactions, and it gives me chills to see the donations and these people that believe in us and believe in our families and are willing to take out of their own pocket to help these families out is amazing.
I bet that's a joyous time when you get to sit down every month and reconcile all that.
Absolutely.
That's pretty cool. Where do you see this kind of work going in the next 5 to 10 years? Do you see a do you see a need for more groups like this to get going in counties across the United States and the world?
Absolutely. That is something that is frustrating about this work, is that there are economic forces that are constantly acting against these families. And, there needs to be a safety net for them because there are children involved. And, they're not going to be able to thrive in the next generation if we do not support where they are at right now. As far as our particular organization in the next 5 or 10 years, that's something that we need to look at because we are based on a social media platform and because the algorithms of what users of that platform see, we have to be very careful with making sure we get seen. It can be an abyss, and we have to constantly be researching how to break through on those platforms. So we'll have to look into the next 5 or 10 years how to be sustainable ourselves.
Well, you just broke into YouTube with this podcast, so that's good.
Yay.
And we will definitely post in the show notes links to the organization if anybody wants to support Cobb County Moms helping out Cobb County. And we'll have your website link down there so that people know how to reach you, because you do have a website, right? It's not just on Facebook.
We do have a website, yes.
Excellent. Katie, tell us what inspires you or the group to keep going, to keep doing this work.
Our families definitely inspire us. We can maybe take a break. They can't. They have to keep going. They're very hardworking. They're very diligent. They are, as I've mentioned, they're great problem solvers, and there's always a problem to solve. We are just one of the tools that they use to solve those problems. They're also, our process for vetting families can be uncomfortable, and they provide us all the documentation we need. They answer all the questions, and they do it for their families. And that is definitely inspiring for us to keep going.
Wow. And how much time, if someone or some group wants to start an endeavor like this, what's the time commitment? What can that range be for time commitment to this kind of work?
Well, if you wanted to volunteer, say, for our particular group, we have recently started a clothes closet, and we also have toiletries and cleaning supplies, because those things are not covered by EBT benefits or food stamps. So we have had a lot of volunteers step up to sort clothing. We've had volunteers deliver items to our families.
Wow.
So that can be as little as an hour a week. Our particular group, the families that we help, there's always a need. And so if this is something that you wanted to do full time, I know our other admins spend lots of time and there's always something to be done and always another need to be met. So it really ranges between an hour a week to as many hours as you'd like to put into it.
That's great. So again, it's like the $5, or you can donate $5 or $100. You could donate an hour a month or 5 hours a week. All of that helps, right?
Right. It all makes an impact.
Is there any myths about the work you do that you'd like to debunk? If people are like, I don't know if I want to get involved in that group, is there any kind of, myths about the struggle of these families, or the work that you do that you want to kind of talk about or debunk?
I think there is a myth that people who live in poverty are not hardworking. And one of the requirements of our group is that you have to have income. We had a particular family whose dad worked full time and did part time work on the side, and they were struggling and they needed help avoiding eviction. They all worked hard. They had a teenage daughter who had a job. Poverty is not something that is easy, and it is not something that's easily overcome, especially when your skill set is such that you are, as I said, earning on the poverty line.
Yeah. Wow. What legacy do you want to leave with what kind of work you're doing here with Cobb County Moms, or do you have other ideas for growth for Cobb County Moms, or for you personally, other things you'd like to get involved in?
Our legacy it's always about the children in Cobb. We hope that with our support, they can thrive at school. They can play safely in their community. They can live in a safe home. As far as for the group itself, we hope to provide that safety net for families, continue to provide that safety net to families, and help them go to the next level. We've had several families we've assisted who are in our group, and they contribute right back. They give us their $10 and donate items in the group. And so that's really the legacy that we're looking for.
Wow. Well, Katie, I want to thank you. Can you tell our listeners how could they get involved with Cobb County Moms, whether they live near or in Cobb County, Georgia, or if they want to just partner with you on this endeavor? How can they follow you, get in touch with you, that kind of thing?
Absolutely. Well, our website is www.cobbmomshelpingcobb.org. And we have a Facebook group, Cobb Moms Helping Cobb. And so if you would like to assist, go one of those two places. If you are in Cobb County and you need assistance, you can also go to our website, and there we have a registration form for both general assistance and for clothing, toiletries, food, etc.
That's awesome. Well, everybody, check out the show notes. Go check out the work that Cobb County Moms is doing. And Katie, thank you so much for being here and inspiring others to do this work. If every county had a county moms group, we would be really helping a lot of kids out.
Well,
thank you.
Thank you for
You're
having me.
inspirational. I'm already tearing up again hearing about this.
Aw, thank you, Janet. I appreciate the opportunity to come brag on our group.
Wow, excellent. So thank you all for joining us today on Journey to Impact. Please subscribe, like this episode. We're going to do more of these, and you're going to hear other inspirational stories and how you can create impact, because without impact, it doesn't matter. Thanks.